Rain poured like the sky had finally given up holding back its grief. Inside a sleek black SUV, a wealthy executive watched through tinted glass as a delivery rider sped through traffic, soaked to the bone, his bike skidding slightly on the slick road. The rider suddenly slowed, then stopped. Not for a customer. Not for money. But for a stranger collapsed by the roadside. The man inside the car leaned forward, confused. Why would someone with so little risk everything for someone they didn't even know? What happened next would change both their lives forever. The rain hadn't stopped for hours. It was the kind of rain that seeped into everything: clothes, skin, even hope. The kind that made the city feel colder than it really was. Tund adjusted his worn-out helmet as water dripped down his face. His delivery bag clung tightly to his back, heavier now from the damp air. His fingers were numb, but he couldn't afford to stop. Not tonight. Not when his mother needed her medication. Not when his younger sister was waiting at home, probably pretending she wasn't hungry. He revved the small engine of his bike again, weaving carefully through traffic. Horns blared. Headlights flickered through sheets of rain. The city was alive, but it didn't care who struggled to survive in it. Tund had been riding since morning. 5 deliveries. Then 8. Then 12. Each one barely enough. But he kept going. Because stopping meant thinking. And thinking meant remembering everything he was trying to outrun. His day had started like most others. Before sunrise. A cramped one-room apartment with peeling paint and a leaking ceiling. A bucket placed carefully under the drip. His mother coughing softly in the corner, trying not to wake anyone. But Tund was already awake. He always was. He moved quietly, lighting the small stove with practiced hands. The smell of boiling water filled the room. "Mama," he whispered gently. "You should have woken me." His mother smiled faintly. "You need your rest, Tund." He shook his head. "Rest doesn't pay bills." She didn't argue. She never did. Tund wasn't always like this. There was a time he had dreams bigger than survival. A time when he sat in classrooms, scribbling ideas in notebooks instead of calculating how many deliveries it would take to buy a pack of medication. He was smart. Everyone said so. His teachers used to call him the engineer. Because he could fix anything. Phones. Radios. Even a broken generator once. But life had other plans. His father passed away suddenly. Everything changed overnight. School became a luxury. Responsibility became permanent. And just like that, dreams became memories. By mid-morning, Tund was already on his 3rd delivery. His bike rattled beneath him, threatening to give up at any moment. He knew every strange sound it made, every little warning. But fixing it properly required money. Money he didn't have. So he patched it. Again and again. Just like he patched his life. Around noon, something unexpected happened. He stopped at a roadside mechanic shop, not as a customer, but just to tighten a loose bolt with borrowed tools. The mechanic, an older man named Musa, watched him carefully. "You didn't learn this on the streets," Musa said. Tund shrugged. "Just picked it up." Musa smiled knowingly. "No. You learned it somewhere." Tund hesitated. Then quietly, "School. Why did you stop?" Tund didn't answer. He didn't need to. Musa sighed. "You've got hands that can build things, not just fix broken ones." Tund wiped his hands on a rag. "Right now, fixing broken things is what feeds my family." He handed the tool back. And rode off. By evening, the rain began. At first, it was light. Manageable. Then it grew heavier. Customers became impatient. Traffic worsened. Roads flooded. But something else happened too. More orders. More demand. More opportunity. And Tund couldn't afford to say no. By nightfall, he was exhausted. His clothes clung to his body. His vision blurred slightly from fatigue. But his phone buzzed again. Another delivery. He accepted it without thinking. One more trip. Just one more. That was when he saw him. At first, it was just a shape by the roadside. Barely visible through the rain. A man. Lying still. Cars passed. People hurried by. No one stopped. Tund slowed down. His instincts screamed at him to keep moving. You don't have time. You can't afford delays. What if it's trouble? What if it's a trap? But something deeper, something louder, spoke over all that noise. He pulled over. The man was drenched. Unconscious. Breathing, but barely. Tund knelt beside him, his heart racing. Sir, can you hear me? No response. He looked around. No help. No one willing to stop. He made a decision. The kind that doesn't come from logic. The kind that comes from who you are, at your core. Tund removed his jacket, the only one he had, and covered the man. Then carefully, he lifted him. Struggling under the weight. Rain pouring harder. His delivery timer ticking down. He didn't care anymore. Back in the SUV across the street. A man watched everything. Every second. Every choice. And something about what he was seeing didn't make sense. A young delivery rider. Clearly struggling. Clearly exhausted. Giving up time, money, possibly his job. For a complete stranger. Sir, the driver said, should we go? But the man didn't respond. He kept watching. Because somehow. He knew this moment mattered. Tund finally managed to get the man onto his bike, barely balanced, barely stable. He knew a small clinic not far away. It wasn't much. But it was something. He kicked the engine. And rode. Slowly. Carefully. Through the storm. Inside him, exhaustion screamed. But something else pushed him forward. A quiet voice. The same one that refused to let him walk away. The same one that reminded him. Even when life gives you nothing, you can still choose to give something. As the bike disappeared into the rain, the man in the SUV made a decision too. Follow him, he said quietly. The driver blinked. Sir. Just follow that rider. Because for the first time in a long time, he had just witnessed something money couldn't buy. And he needed to understand it. Before we continue with this incredible journey, I spent countless hours researching and crafting this story to bring you something truly meaningful. If stories like this touch your heart and you want to see more acts of kindness that restore faith in humanity, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. It means the world to me and helps these important stories reach others who need to hear them. The clinic was barely lit. A flickering fluorescent bulb buzzed above the entrance, casting uneven shadows on the wet floor. The rain had followed Tund inside, dripping from his clothes, pooling beneath his feet as he struggled through the door. Help. Please, someone help. A nurse behind the small counter looked up, startled. Her eyes widened as she rushed forward. What happened? I found him on the road, Tund said, breathless. He wasn't moving. Together, they carefully laid the man on a narrow bed. Another nurse appeared, calling for the doctor. The room suddenly filled with urgency, footsteps, voices, the clatter of metal trays. Tund stepped back. Soaked. Shivering. Watching. He didn't know this man. Didn't know his name. Didn't know where he came from. But for some reason, leaving didn't feel right. Outside, the black SUV pulled up quietly. The man inside watched through the rain-streaked window as Tun stood frozen just inside the clinic, as if waiting for permission to breathe again. "Interesting," he murmured. He reached for the door handle. Then paused. "Give me a minute," he told his driver. And stepped out into the rain. Inside, the doctor worked quickly. "Pulse is weak, get me saline. Blood pressure dropping. Stay with me, sir. Stay with me." Tun swallowed hard. Every second felt heavy. Like he was somehow responsible for what happened next. A hand touched his shoulder. He turned. And came face to face with a man who clearly did not belong in a place like this. Clean suit. Polished shoes, now splashed with rainwater. A presence that commanded attention without effort. "Did you bring him here?" the man asked calmly. Tun nodded. "Yes." The man studied him for a moment. Not just looking, but observing. The soaked clothes. The trembling hands. The delivery bag still strapped to his back. "You stayed," the man said. Tun shrugged slightly. "I couldn't just leave. Most people did." Tun didn't respond. Because that part hurt. Minutes stretched. Finally, the doctor stepped out. "We've stabilized him," he said, removing his gloves. "He's lucky someone brought him in when they did." Tun let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. "Can I see him?" he asked quietly. The doctor hesitated. Then nodded. Briefly. The man on the bed looked different now. Still unconscious. But calmer. Alive. Machines beeped softly beside him. Tun stood there for a moment, unsure what to do. Then, almost instinctively, he adjusted the blanket slightly, making sure it covered the man properly. A small act. But a telling one. From the doorway, the well-dressed man watched everything. Every movement. Every choice. "Why?" the man finally asked as Tun stepped back out. Tun frowned. "Why what? Why risk your time, your job, for someone you don't even know?" Tun looked down at his hands. "They could have been my father," he said quietly. The day he collapsed, no one stopped. Silence filled the space between them. The rain outside softened. Just a little. The man nodded slowly. "I see." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a business card. "You've done something rare tonight." Tun shook his head. "I just did what anyone should do." The man smiled faintly. "That's exactly the point. Not everyone does." He held out the card. Tun hesitated. Then took it. He glanced at it briefly, but the name meant nothing to him. Just another important person in a world he didn't belong to. "If you ever need anything," the man said, "call me." Tun nodded politely. "Thank you, sir." Just then, his phone buzzed. The delivery app. Order cancelled. Late delivery penalty applied. His earnings for the night, gone. Tun closed his eyes briefly. Of course. Reality didn't wait for kindness. "You should go home," the man said. Tun forced a small smile. "I still have more deliveries. In this weather? I don't really have a choice." The man studied him again. "You always this stubborn?" Tun chuckled softly. "Only when I have to be." There was a pause. Then something shifted. The man reached into his wallet and pulled out some cash. "A small help," he said. Tun immediately shook his head. "I can't take that. It's not charity. It feels like it." The man raised an eyebrow. "You just saved a life." Tun met his gaze. "That doesn't make me someone who needs to be paid for it." For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then slowly, the man put the money away. Fair enough. Respect. Genuine respect. It passed between them without words. "What's your name?" the man asked. Tund. "I'm Mr. Adeyemi." Tund nodded, still not recognizing the name. But something about the way he said it carried weight. "Take care of yourself, Tund." "You too, sir." As Tund stepped back into the rain, the cold hit him instantly. But something inside him felt warmer. Lighter. Even with the lost money. Even with the long night ahead. He got back on his bike. Adjusted his helmet. And rode off. From the clinic entrance, Mr. Adeyemi watched him disappear into the darkness. "A rare one," he muttered. His driver approached. "Sir, should we head back?" Mr. Adeyemi didn't answer immediately. Instead, he looked down at the business card he had given Tund. Most people who received that card called within hours. Some begged. Some demanded. Some tried to impress him. But something told him. This one wouldn't. And that made him even more interesting. Back on the road, Tund continued his deliveries. One after another. Rain soaking through his clothes. Wind biting at his skin. But his mind kept drifting back. To the man in the clinic. To the stranger who had asked, why? To the quiet realization that maybe, just maybe, someone had actually seen him tonight. Not just as a delivery rider. Not just as another face in the crowd. But as something more. Hours later, he finally made it home. The room was dark. His sister slept curled up on the thin mattress. His mother stirred slightly as he entered. "You're late," she whispered. "Long night," he replied softly. She noticed his soaked clothes. "You'll get sick like this." "I'm fine." He wasn't. But he didn't say that. Instead, he reached into his pocket. And pulled out the business card. He stared at it for a moment. Then placed it carefully beside his bed. Not as a lifeline. But as a reminder. That even in the hardest moments, doing the right thing still mattered. Across the city, in a quiet hospital room far more advanced than the small clinic, the man Tund had saved slowly began to regain consciousness. Machines hummed softly. Doctors moved efficiently. And standing near the window was Mr. Adeyemi. Watching. Waiting. Thinking. Because something about that night. About that rider. About that choice. Wasn't finished yet. Not even close. Morning came slowly. Not because the sun didn't rise. But because for Tund, rest had become a luxury his body no longer understood. He woke up before dawn, as always. The room still smelled faintly of damp clothes from the night before. His muscles ached. His head throbbed slightly. But he pushed through it, quietly preparing for another long day. The business card lay beside him. Simple. Clean. Powerful. He picked it up, staring at the name again. Mr. Adeyemi. Still, it meant nothing to him. And yet, it felt like something. He slipped it into his pocket. Not to use. Just, to keep. Days passed. Life didn't magically change. Bills didn't disappear. Hunger didn't wait. Tund kept riding. Morning to night. Rain or shine. Fixing his bike when it broke down. Stretching every naira like it was his last. But something had shifted. Not outside. Inside. That night at the clinic stayed with him. The way he had acted without thinking. The way someone had looked at him, like he mattered. It was unfamiliar. But it stayed. At the same time, across the city, things were unfolding in a very different world. Mr. Adeyemi stood in a private hospital room, looking at the man Tund had saved. Now fully conscious. Stronger. Alive. You were lucky, Mr. Adeyemi said. The man nodded weakly. I don't remember much, just the rain. A young rider brought you in. The man frowned slightly. A rider? Mr. Adeyemi nodded. He didn't know who you were. Didn't ask for anything. Just acted. The man leaned back, processing. In a city like this, he murmured, that's rare. Exactly, Mr. Adeyemi replied. There was a pause. Then the man looked at him directly. Find him. Back in Tund's world. The struggle deepened. His mother's condition worsened. The cough became heavier. More frequent. The medication, more expensive. One evening, as he counted the day's earnings, his sister sat quietly beside him. Is Mama going to be okay? She asked. Tund forced a smile. She will be. But even he didn't fully believe it. The next day brought another problem. His bike broke down. Not a small issue this time. The engine. Completely dead. Tund stood by the roadside, staring at it. Silent. Because he already knew what this meant. No bike. No deliveries. No money. At Musa's mechanic shop, the diagnosis was quick. This one isn't a quick fix, Musa said, wiping his hands. Tund nodded slowly. How much? Musa hesitated. Then said the number. It hit harder than expected. Tund let out a quiet breath. That much. Musa placed a hand on his shoulder. I can try to patch it again. But it won't last. Tund looked at the bike. Then away. I'll figure something out. But for the first time in a long time. He didn't know how. That night, he walked home. No bike. No earnings. Just silence. He sat beside his mother as she slept. The room felt smaller. Heavier. The walls seemed to close in with every passing minute. His sister slept, unaware. Tund reached into his pocket. Pulled out the card. And stared at it again. This time. It felt different. Not just a reminder. A possibility. But also a question. One he wasn't sure he wanted to answer. Don't, his mother's weak voice said suddenly. He turned quickly. Mama, you're awake. She looked at the card in his hand. You helped someone, because it was right. He swallowed. Yes. Don't let that become something you trade. Her voice was soft. But firm. Tund nodded slowly. I understand. And he meant it. But understanding didn't solve everything. The next morning, he made a decision. He would not call. Not yet. Instead, he would try one more thing. He returned to Musa. Teach me, Tund said. Musa raised an eyebrow. Teach you what? Everything. Musa studied him. This isn't easy work. I know. You'll earn less than riding deliveries. At least for now. I know. It will take time. Tund nodded. I don't have many options. There was a long pause. Then Musa smiled slightly. All right. Let's see what you've got. Days turned into weeks. Tund worked at the shop during the day. Learning. Watching. Fixing. Making mistakes. Getting better. And at night, he still found small delivery jobs he could do on borrowed bikes. It wasn't enough. But it was something. Slowly, something remarkable began to show. Tund wasn't just learning. He was improving fast. Too fast. His hands moved with precision. His mind understood problems before they were fully explained. One afternoon, a frustrated customer stormed into the shop. "My generator has been dead for weeks. Everyone says it can't be fixed." Musa sighed. "We can take a look, but..." "Let me try," Tund said quietly. Musa hesitated. Then stepped aside. "Go ahead." The next hour was silent. Focused. Tund worked carefully. Piece by piece. Listening. Testing. Adjusting. Until finally, the machine roared back to life. The customer froze. Then broke into a wide smile. "You did it." Tund stepped back, wiping his hands. "It just needed patience." Musa watched from the side. Impressed. But not surprised. Word began to spread. Slowly. Quietly. About a young mechanic who could fix what others couldn't. It wasn't much. But it was growing. Meanwhile, Mr. Adeyemi was growing impatient. "No trace?" he asked sharply. His assistant shook her head. "We've checked delivery records, local clinics, nothing concrete." Mr. Adeyemi frowned. "That rider saved a life. He shouldn't just disappear." "We'll keep looking, sir." He nodded. But something about it bothered him. Because for the first time, he wasn't trying to find someone for business. Or opportunity. Or gain. He was trying to find someone, because it mattered. Back at the mechanic shop, Tund sat outside one evening, exhausted. But for once, not hopeless. Musa handed him a small envelope. "What's this?" Tund asked. "Your share." Tund opened it. His eyes widened slightly. It wasn't much. But it was honest. Steady. Real. "Thank you," he said quietly. Musa nodded. "You've earned it." As the sun set, Tund leaned back, looking up at the sky. For the first time in a long time, he allowed himself to think. Not about survival. But about possibility. Still, the card remained in his pocket. Unanswered. Unused. Waiting. Because deep down, Tund knew something. His story wasn't done. Not yet. The call came on a quiet afternoon. No rain. No chaos. Just the steady hum of the mechanic shop as Tund worked beneath the hood of a stubborn engine. His hands were covered in grease. His shirt clung to his back from the heat. But his focus was sharp, steady, different from the boy who had once only been trying to survive. His phone buzzed in his pocket. He almost ignored it. Work came first now. But something made him pause. He pulled it out. An unknown number. He hesitated. Then answered. "Hello." There was a brief silence on the other end. Then a calm, familiar voice. "Tund." His heart skipped. "Yes, who is this?" "You helped someone in the rain." Everything went still. "Mr. Adeyemi." Across the city, in a quiet office high above the noise and movement of everyday life, Mr. Adeyemi stood by the window, looking out as he spoke. "I've been trying to find you," he said. Tund wiped his hands quickly, stepping away from the noise of the shop. "I didn't think you would. You didn't call." Tund swallowed. "I didn't want to feel like I was expecting something." There was a pause. Then a soft chuckle. "That's exactly why I kept looking." They agreed to meet that evening. Not at a hospital. Not in the rain. But in a place far removed from everything Tund knew. The building was tall. Glass walls reflecting the setting sun. Security at the entrance. Everything about it felt expensive. Tund stood outside for a moment, adjusting his shirt nervously. He almost turned back. But then he remembered something. That night. That decision. And he walked in. Inside, everything was quiet. Polished floors. Soft lighting. People who moved with purpose. And then, Mr. Adeyemi appeared. Just as composed as before. But this time, there was something warmer in his expression. "You came," he said. Tund nodded. "You asked to see me." They shook hands. Firm. Respectful. "Come," Mr. Adeyemi said, leading him inside. They entered a private office. Large. Elegant. But not overwhelming. Tund sat carefully, unsure of where to place his hands. "You've been busy," Mr. Adeyemi said. Tund frowned slightly. "Sir. I found you," he continued. "Not through luck, but through your work." Tund's eyes narrowed in confusion. "The mechanic shop. The generator you fixed. The customers who keep asking for you." Tund looked down slightly. "I'm just trying to learn." "No," Mr. Adeyemi said calmly. "You're building something." There was a brief silence. Then Mr. Adeyemi leaned forward. "The man you saved," he began, "is more than just a stranger." Tund looked up. "He's a partner in one of my companies." That hit differently. Not because of money. But because of what it meant. "You didn't just help a man," Mr. Adeyemi continued. "You protected a future. A family. Hundreds of workers who depend on him." Tund didn't know what to say. So he said nothing. "I asked him what he remembered," Mr. Adeyemi went on. "Do you know what he said?" Tund shook his head. He said, "I remember feeling like someone refused to let me disappear." The words hung in the air. Heavy. Powerful. Real. Mr. Adeyemi stood and walked to his desk. He picked up a file. Then placed it in front of Tund. "I want to offer you something." Tund didn't touch it yet. "What kind of offer?" "An opportunity." Tund opened the file slowly. Inside were documents. Photos. Plans. A workshop. Modern. Fully equipped. His eyes widened slightly. "What is this?" "A mechanic and technical training center," Mr. Adeyemi said. "One that focuses on people like you. Skilled, but overlooked." Tund looked up, confused. "I don't understand." "I want you to run it." Silence. Complete silence. Tund blinked. "Sir. I think you're mistaken." "I'm not. I'm still learning. I don't even have formal training." Mr. Adeyemi nodded. "Exactly. You understand the struggle. The gaps. The reality. That doesn't mean I can lead something like this. It means you're the only kind of person who should." Tund leaned back slightly, overwhelmed. "This is too much." "No," Mr. Adeyemi said firmly. "This is what happens when the right person is given the right chance." Doubt crept in. Loud. Persistent. "What if I fail?" Mr. Adeyemi smiled faintly. "Then you learn. Just like you did with that generator." The room fell quiet again. Tund looked at the images. The tools. The space. Then he thought about Musa. About his mother. About the nights of hunger. The broken bike. The rain. Everything. "This isn't just for me, is it?" he asked quietly. Mr. Adeyemi shook his head. "No. It's for everyone who never got the chance you deserved." That was the moment something shifted. Not fear disappearing. But purpose becoming louder than fear. "I'll do it," Tund said finally. The transformation didn't happen overnight. It never does. The training center opened months later. Not with grand speeches. but with quiet determination. Tund stood at the entrance on the first day. New clothes. Same eyes. Focused. Grounded. Musa stood beside him. Proud. You didn't just fix machines, Musa said. You fixed your path. Tund smiled slightly. You helped me find it. Young men and women walked in. Some nervous. Some hopeful. All searching. Just like Tund once was. Days turned into weeks. Weeks into months. The center grew. More students. More success stories. More lives changing. And Tund? He grew too. From survival to leadership. From uncertainty to confidence. But he never forgot. One afternoon, as he walked through the workshop, he noticed a young boy struggling with a broken engine. Frustrated. Ready to give up. Tund walked over. Let me show you something, he said. The boy looked up. Tired. Doubtful. Just like Tund once was. Tund guided him. Patiently. Step by step. Until finally. The engine came to life. The boy's face lit up. I did it. Tund smiled. No, he said gently. You believed you could. That's what matters. Across the room, Mr. Adeyemi watched quietly. No announcement. No attention. Just observing. Because this was the real reward. Months later, something unexpected happened. A heavy storm hit the city again. Familiar. Relentless. Tund stood at the entrance of the center, watching the rain fall. And then he saw someone. A young delivery rider. Struggling. Bike broken. Standing helpless in the rain. Without thinking, Tund grabbed his jacket. And stepped out. Hey, he called out. Let me help you. The rider looked up, surprised. You don't have to. I know, Tund said with a small smile. But I will. As he helped fix the bike under the pouring rain. Something came full circle. Not loudly. Not dramatically. But powerfully. Because once. He had been the one in the rain. Now. He was the one stepping into it for someone else. And somewhere behind him. Inside the building he once could never have imagined. Dozens of lives were changing. All because. One night. One decision. Refused to let a stranger disappear. Years passed. But the story never really ended. It only grew. The training center that once started as a single building became something much bigger. What began as an opportunity, turned into a movement. More centers opened across the city. Then beyond it. Places where young people, once overlooked, ignored, or forgotten, found something they had never been given before. A real chance. Inside one of the expanded workshops, the sound of tools echoed with purpose. Engines roared back to life. Metal clanked. Voices laughed. And in the middle of it all, Tund walked through, no longer just a survivor of hardship, but a builder of futures. He stopped beside a group of trainees gathered around a complex machine. Talk me through it, he said. One of them, a young woman with grease on her hands and determination in her eyes, stepped forward. We diagnosed the issue. It's the ignition system. We're testing each component before replacing anything. Tund nodded. Good. Always understand before you act. She smiled. Confidence. Earned. Real. Across the room, a wall displayed photos. Dozens of them. Graduates. Smiling faces. Stories of transformation. And right at the center. A simple frame. A photo taken years ago. Blurry. Rainy. A young rider helping a stranger. Tund paused in front of it sometimes. Not out of pride. But out of remembrance. Because that moment. That one decision. Still defined everything. At home, things had changed too. The small, leaking room was gone. Replaced by a modest but comfortable house. Nothing extravagant. But everything meaningful. His mother sat outside one evening, wrapped in a light shawl, watching the sunset. Her health had improved. Not perfectly. But enough. Enough to smile more. Enough to laugh again. "You've done well," she said as Tund sat beside her. Tund shook his head gently. "We've done well." She looked at him. Proud. "You didn't just change your life," she said. "You changed others." Tund glanced at the sky. "I just didn't want anyone to feel invisible." His sister walked out, holding a book. "Big news," she said excitedly. "I got accepted." Tund turned quickly. "Accepted where?" She grinned. "Engineering school." For a moment. He said nothing. Then he smiled. Wide. Genuine. "Of course you did. Because dreams, once buried, were now being lived again." Across the city, in a quiet office that overlooked everything he had helped build. Mr. Adeyemi stood by the window. Older now. Wiser. Watching. An assistant stepped in. "Sir, the expansion report is ready. The numbers are impressive." He nodded slightly. But his attention remained outside. "Do you know what the real success is?" he asked. The assistant hesitated. "The growth?" Mr. Adeyemi shook his head. "It's that none of this was built on profit." He turned slightly. "It was built on a moment." Later that week, something unexpected happened. Tund received a visitor. Not scheduled. Not announced. It was him. The man from the rain. The one who had once lain unconscious on the roadside. Now fully healthy. Standing tall. Alive. For a moment, they just looked at each other. Time seemed to fold in on itself. Then the man stepped forward. "I've been wanting to meet you properly," he said. Tund smiled. "I'm glad you're okay." The man shook his head softly. "I'm more than okay, because of you." They walked through the center together. The man observed everything. The students. The work. The energy. "This," he said quietly, "came from that night." Tund nodded. "That night started something." The man looked around again. Then back at Tund. "You didn't just save me," he said. "You multiplied that moment." Before leaving, the man turned once more. "There are many ways to measure success," he said. "But this is the kind that actually matters." That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Tund stood outside the center. Watching. Thinking. Grateful. A young trainee approached him. "Sir, why did you start all this?" Tund looked at him for a moment. Then said something simple. "Because someone once needed help, and I was there." The trainee nodded slowly. Understanding. And just like that, the story continued. Not as a memory, but as a chain reaction. Because kindness doesn't end. It echoes. It spreads. It grows in places you never expect. Stories like this remind us that extraordinary kindness exists all around us. If this touched your heart, please like this video. It helps more people discover these inspiring stories. Subscribe for more tales of human kindness that will restore your faith in humanity. And most importantly, look for opportunities in your own life to be someone's unexpected blessing. What act of kindness will you perform this week? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. And remember, you have the power to change someone's entire world.